Did you know Yujiro Hanma is a very strong character? Did you know Yujiro Hanma is so strong, any regular person in the Bakiverse now sees an aura covering him? Pretty cool stuff. But welcome back to a Baki video talking about the recent Baki Dow 2018 chapters. We have Yujiro just being hyped up, doing Yujiro things, great to see. But the main thing to talk about is the introduction of a new character. A character who Yujiro may be fighting in the next chapter. Today I'll be going over everything as I do on this channel, Mysterious Weeb, so if you're a fan of Baki content, maybe hit that subscribe button, it's greatly appreciated. The character that got introduced goes by the name Kehaya, I believe, and similar to Sukune, he is a descendant of a sumo wrestler with the same name, who we've actually seen early in Baki Dow 2018, chapter 2 to be precise, where we see the legendary battle of the original Sukune fighting the original Kehaya, and this is pretty much the current day Kehaya introduced to the story. I completely forgot about this stuff revealed in chapter 2. As we know, the original Sukune won that fight, so I didn't really think too much about Kehaya, but he's here, and he doesn't look like the typical sumo build we've seen throughout the series so far, which I'm personally glad for. And I get the sense that Yujiro is also glad about that for some certain reasons I'll talk about shortly, but have a hint here. He was introduced talking to the old man, as many characters are throughout the Baki series, with his initial height coming from being able to kick this huge boulder in half with a single kick that we see in the roars of chapter 24. Man just looked at it and like, alright, give it a kick and there you go. Comparing this to current Baki feat standards, it isn't really impressive whatsoever, so it's a way to hype him, but it doesn't really mean much. However, it seems like this boulder wasn't really regular. Any bug or animal that would get close to it would die like it's being hit by some type of poison. This may have been the reason he actually decided to crack it open with a kick, but that's really all we know about that situation. Going back to the original Sukune and Kehaya, their fight ended with, of course, Sukune overwhelming him and then stomping on his back, resulting in his spine to be destroyed, and that's how he was defeated. Given the connection both him and Sukune have, I guess it's likely they're going to fight at some point in the future after Sukune recovers, and maybe Kehaya gets this like long-lasting revenge for his ancestor or something like that. But I get the sense that he's very chill in how he's acting. But the thing we need to talk about now is the arrival of Yujiro. We see the door distorting a little bit, I'm guessing due to Yujiro's aura as we saw earlier in the chapter. But then he walks in and they look at one another. And that's everything we have for the translations of chapter 123. 124 shows him cracking open that boulder. And my man does look quite beefy and much prefer his build over any of the other sumo wrestlers we've seen so far. And the boulder is quite big when you compare him to the size of Kehaya, so it is a little bit more impressive than I initially thought, and that kick was decently badass. But regarding what him and Yujiro talk about in the chapter, I can't say. There was this mad lad on the Baki subreddit who gave, I guess, a brief understanding, but take this with a grain of salt. This is his limited knowledge, he says right here. But according to him, he says Yujiro gave you an option of choosing the easy way or the hard way, and based on how this chapter goes, it seems like he chose the hard way, looking very confident in talking to Yujiro, something we don't really see too much throughout the series. Just compare Kehaya's first interaction with Yujiro compared to Sukune's interaction with him. A big difference in that regard, but my guess based on the little translation and what we actually see in the chapter, they are most likely going to fight next chapter. So of course, the obvious prediction is Yujiro just negging him. I think like 99% of the fandom believe that's going to happen. But for some reason, I think Yujiro is going to give Kehaya a little bit of praise. He may allow Kehaya to land a direct kick on him for the lols, something Yujiro tends to do throughout the series. Kehaya does that kick and maybe Yujiro compares it to Sukune's punch or something from Sukune or something like that. Or maybe Yujiro attacks him and then compares him to Sukune. I think a direct comparison between the two is definitely going to happen. I don't think Yujiro is going to kill Kehaya or do something else quite suspicious. I think he's going to have a quick little exchange similar to the Sukune situation, give him a little bit of praise so we can have a future build-up of Kehaya's fight with Sukune in the future. I personally wasn't sure whether Sukune would return to the story after what Jack did to him. Maybe he was going to get like an Ali Jr. treatment, but with the arrival of Kehaya, Sukune returning is a very likely occurrence. I guess this also means the Sumo arc is continuing, even though this guy isn't really built like the typical sumo wrestler and seems to be a kicking specialist. I think in like our world mythology about Kehaya, he's also described as like a kicking specialist as well, so that's pretty accurate in that aspect as well. But yeah, I guess it's continuing. I don't think we're going to completely miss out on the whole Jack stuff. As we know, we had the Beyond Height chapter of Jack calling out everyone. I think this was just, an in-between few chapters, as we tend to get throughout the series. If Yujiro hasn't been shown for like 5 or 6 chapters, of course there needs to be a chapter dedicated to him. Middle of the tournament, we had Yujiro meeting with Biden, stuff like that. Just typical stuff from the Baki offer, needing to squeeze Yujiro in at every chance he gets, or every in-between chapter. So in 125, I believe we'll see the fight happening. Kehaya one attack, Yujiro does one back, Yujiro defeats him, gives him some praise, tells him to get stronger or something like that. Yujiro leaves, and then perhaps we cut to Jack preparing for his first fight. And if I had to place my bets on who he's fighting first, I think it'll either be Doppo, Orochi, or Gaia. Gaia, I believe he's the weakest person Jack challenged. Doppo Orochi, because I believe he doesn't really have too much to show in his fight against Jack, would be more of a warm-up if I'm being honest. Sad to say it, but that's just how I really think it's going to go. One more thing I wanted to talk about regarding the chapters themselves is there's been a lot of discourse about Yujiro's current design in the manga, with his neck looking absolutely huge, looking very similar to Jack's current neck if I have to be honest, and his veins are popping out even more than ever. This is just most likely representing Yujiro getting stronger and stronger, as he's been doing throughout the whole series. If you're not aware of that, I hope you're at this point. And of course, Yujiro is looking badass as he walks around, with us seeing that aura still staying around Yujiro, so that's maybe a current thing that we're always going to see around Yujiro, which I'm not really going to complain about. It, for some reason, just makes him look cooler, don't really know how to explain it. Regarding the release date of the next chapter, it could come out in 1 or 2 days, or it could be another break week. We're talking about the Baki manga. We don't really know when it comes out. If it comes out tomorrow or the day after, it does. If it doesn't, I don't know. And regarding the translations for 124, again, I have no idea. Knowing my luck, they're probably going to come out tomorrow, and I kind of messed up in releasing this video. I was kind of waiting for the translations, but I'm going to be busy for the next 3 weeks, so I wanted to get the video out before I got very busy. So yeah, probably comes out tomorrow. I won't be surprised considering my luck. But that's everything. Check out the other stuff in the description to be a true mad lad deserving of a high five. And shout out to the Patreon supporters, the Giga Chads. But yep, that's it guys. Peace.